Now we can get to the fun part because we've met all the 8 archetypes. So now we can see what happens when we put them all together. And when we do that, it creates an extra layer of information. It creates a pattern which unifies metaphysics. That's the ancient schools of philosophy from around the world. It's a simple pattern, it's easy to wrap our heads around, and once we see it, we can gain extra layers of information and meaning. So, what is it? I'm going to have to show you a couple of diagrams. So what I've gone and done is I've gone and bought myself an overhead projector. Isn't it a thing of beauty? I don't know what it is about Kiwis, but as soon as we're trying to make something sciencey cool, we go straight to the retro technology. And it just goes to show that true style never dates. Okay, maybe it dates, but it's analog, and analog is always going to be a beautiful thing. So here we go, overhead projector. And the first diagram I want to show you is the planets in the solar system in the order that they go from the sun. And I'm showing you this so we can colour code them for later reference. Super basic. Mercury is blue, Venus is green, Earth is gold, Mars is orange, Jupiter is red, Saturn, we're using white for Saturn today. The planet known as Uranus, I'm calling her Minerva because we're talking more about the archetype here. And then Neptune, she is still the goddess of the sea, and she's dark blue. Now, this will probably be the only time that we ever see the planets in anything that looks like a correct order, because the planets are orbiting the sun, so they're constantly changing their positions in the sky. But one thing that we can do is we can pair them up, and that looks kind of harmonious. Oh, I love a bit of harmony. Alright, and next I want to have a moment of appreciation for the 8-pointed star from around the world. This is the Babylonian symbol of the gods. The compass rose. And the rosy cross of the Rosicrucians and the Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn. This is the Buddhist wheel of 8 right paths. This is a Norse symbol of protection. We have the Wiccan Wheel of the Year with a bunch of holidays that we still celebrate. Which brings us to Taoist philosophy and the I Ching. What is the I Ching? So, this is my well-worn book of changes, and it's a form of divination and it's a book of wisdom. And it's based upon this symbol here, which even if you haven't used the I Ching, you're probably familiar with this symbol because it's hanging up in your local Chinese restaurant or whatever. So what is it? It's a diagram composed of 8 symbols, and it starts off with the yin-yang symbol, which owes us the dualistic nature of reality, and then it splits from this yin-yang symbol into binary code to give us these 8 other archetypes, said to represent the primary principles of nature and reality, and they're arranged in a circle to show the ever-changing cyclic nature of time. These 8 other archetypes are traditionally associated with different places in nature, animals, colours, and also 8 immortals. But who these 8 immortals are changes regionally, so I don't want to get too caught up on the correct associations between the archetypes and the trigrams, but I'm more interested in us looking at what this diagram, the Bagua, shows us. And it shows us a few things because there's 2 diagrams here. So the first Bagua, or the primordial or early heaven Bagua, it starts off with heaven and earth, and then heaven and earth have 6 more children, giving us 4 masculine and 4 feminine archetypes altogether. Then the story goes that heaven and earth split, and so we've got a later heaven or King Wen version of the Bagua, which is said to be where we're at on the planet Earth now. And this diagram shows us how we can work with these archetypes in space-time, because Each of these archetypes is associated with a different time of the year, a different season, and also a different direction on the compass. So you could use the Bagua map in order to feng shui your house. I personally don't use either of these Bagua, myself I use a different one, but I'm not going to overload you with too much information. Instead I'm just showing you this diagram of this arrangement of the archetypes, and what it looks like is it's 8 planets orbiting the sun, which takes us over to Jewish mysticism. You're probably familiar with this diagram, you've probably seen it before. It's known as the Tree of Life. When I was initiated into the Westerner School of Occult, this diagram was revealed to me as containing all the secrets of the universe if I could meditate upon it. And I never quite got it, but I figured as a result of making this series, I better give it a nudge. And once I did that, it delivers everything, it promises it does. But what is it? Well, it's said to be a diagram which shows us how the limitless, infinite thing that we know as God limits itself into these facets to give us this multi-dimensional reality that we're in. Okay, and traditionally the energy comes from the top down, but today we're going to work from the bottom up for reasons which will become apparent pretty quickly. Okay, so at the sphere down the bottom, and I do apologise here, I'm not going to pronounce the Hebrew names for these words because I don't want to butcher the language with my ignorance. Okay, but at the sphere down the bottom, this is traditionally associated with Earth, this heavy dense realm where karma is manifest. Okay, then we go up to the closest sphere in the heavens, which is the moon, its foundation. This sphere, she is traditionally associated with Venus. This sphere is associated with Mercury. This sphere is traditionally associated with the Sun. Severity is associated with Mars. This one is associated with optimism, generosity, and it's traditionally associated with the planet Jupiter. Over here, this sphere is associated with the Great Mother or the primordial ocean that we've all emerged from, but its planetary association goes with Saturn. This sphere, known as wisdom, and it's about the lightning flash of inspiration, doesn't have a planetary association. And up the top, it also doesn't have a planetary association, but it's all about that crown chakra stuff, and it has a story that goes with it about a very humble, pious man who became so close to God that he became enlightened. So what we can do, just the same as with astrology, if we put Earth where the moon is and Saturn up into the crown chakra, that leaves the sphere, which is the great primordial mother, to be associated with Neptune, and the sphere associated with wisdom and lightning, that is Minerva. And once again we have a map of the solar system of the planets orbiting the sun. Neato. And what's quite interesting about this map is it shows that the planets which are closest to the sun, like Earth and Venus, are closest to the sun. And the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune and Saturn, are further away from the sun. And a bit of astrology once again, apparently these lines in between the spheres each hold a different meaning. In astrology, those are called planetary aspects. Each planetary aspect has different meaning. And if I go out on a limb here and I swap over Minerva and Neptune, because it doesn't make a whole lot of difference on the map, but what it does do is it means that we can join the dots between the chakras in the order of the rainbow in a nice harmonious pattern once again. So what I'm saying is the map is delivering all of the promises it's traditionally said to do. Great, but that does leave us with that sphere down the bottom, and you might be asking me, is it Pluto? What is it? Why is it there? And I don't think it's Pluto for 3 reasons. First reason is there's 8 planets in our solar system. There's 8 notes in an octave, and there's 8 electrons orbiting a nucleus in a happy self-contained atom, as above so below. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is a couple of the planets in our solar system were discovered with mathematical prediction, that's Uranus and Neptune, and cosmologists are starting to see the evidence that there might be another planet in our solar system on a longer elliptical orbit. Reason number 2. Reason number 3 is, if you've been watching the series, you would have been aware that all of the planets have a character from the major arcana which fits in with the astrological meaning, and it's a perfect fit. So that's the first 8 characters in the major arcana of the tarot. The 9th character in the tarot is called the Hermit. So you might want to check out the video I've made on tarot, and I've also made a video which sums up what I think of all of this information that I'm giving you, because I haven't really given you an opinion on it. It's just what seems to be turning up as a result of synchronizing layers of information. But what this video has shown us is that these schools of metaphysics seem to be showing us a pattern of the planets orbiting the sun. These planets are depicted as archetypal deities, and these deities or energies have been the studies for these ancient schools of philosophy for as long as we can remember. People have been trying to work out how to work with the greater powers of our universe in order to optimize our lives, because winning is the name of the game. And yeah, I hope this was logical enough, informative. Thanks for watching. See you soon.